The Black Death is a series of plague in the mid-12th century that killed within 75 to 100 million people around the world. It killed more people than any other single known event. It was the worst catastrophe in history. The plague originated from fleas and rats. The plague was also known as pestilentia or magna mortalitas, which meant great mortality. The Black Death consisted of three different plagues: the bubonic, the septicemic, and the pneumonic plague. The bubonic plague was caused by fleas feeding on rats. Once the rat was dead, the flea would jump on humans and bite them. It was the most common but least lethal plague. The septicemic plague was caused when rats were bitten by fleas and the rat would bite you. It was the second most common and second most lethal plague. The pneumonic plague was caused when a flea would bite a rat and it had a gland which stopped the blood of the rat getting swallowed. After this, it would vomit all the blood on humans. It was the rarest and most lethal of the plagues. The bubonic plague would cause you to get buboes, the Greek word which meant swollen lymph nodes. Doctor would rub feces on the lymph nodes to stop the swelling. The septicemic plague attacked the respiratory system and it was spread by coughing. The pneumonic plague attacked the bloodstream and your blood would come out of your body from wherever it can. The plague was believed to have started in China at the time when it was under both Mongol and Chinese rule. A significantly large strain of it broke loose in a place called the Yuan Empire. The Tartars, Muslim Turks, would catapult the dead bodies of their soldiers into the city so the risk of the plague spreading within their army would reduce while the enemy will get infected by the plague. While they were doing this, the Yuan Empire was a common trading spot. So many Genoan merchants were in the Yuan Empire. When the word broke loose, the merchants took the opportunity to flee their home countries, but they already caught the plague and their boats were infested with infected rats, so then it was further spread in Europe. Another reason the plague spread so easily was the living conditions of the people. Cities were often crowded or had low sanitation. People had many different beliefs about the plague and how it was caused. Doctors thought bad odors were the cause of the plague, so they had suits with masks that were stuffed with various herbs and leaves to make it smell nice. There were a group called the Flagellants. They thought the plague was a punishment sent by God, so they whipped themselves and others to make the plague stop. Some people looked to the sky for answers because they thought astronomical events involving the earth, the sun, and the moon to trigger events on earth. They also locked up infected people in their houses and boarded up any openings of the house to stop the spread. In conclusion, people did discover a cure to the plague, but it still exists in isolated islands and rats. The main reason to why the Black Death reached such an extent was because they didn't have knowledge about diseases, let alone the plague. If they had better knowledge, they likely could have stopped the plague before it could even leave the continent it started in. Now we are able to stop diseases in very efficient and fast ways.